Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Sofia ROSTAM and I will be answering question number 1. Question number 1. This article pinpoints that the driver of Malaysia's economic growth in Q3 2024 is domestic demand, particularly in its service sector. Assuming within the tourism sector, hotel accommodation price rose by 12% due to increasing demand, while quantity demanded only fell by 4%. A. Calculate the price elasticity of demand for hotel accommodation. Is the demand elastic or inelastic? The formula for price elasticity of demand is the percentage change in quantity demand divided by percentage change in prices. Due to a 12% increase in hotel accommodation prices, there was a resulting 4% decrease in the quantity demanded. This gives us a price elasticity of demand calculated at negative 0.33. Taking the absolute value, we see that the price elasticity of demand is 0.33, which is less than 1, indicating inelastic demand. This means that even with rising prices, the quantity of hotel rooms demanded decreased only slightly. Question B. This article also referenced multiple government measures to enhance family income and, therefore, the creation of demand. Explain how changes in household income might influence the price elasticity of demand for tourism services. For many tourism services, especially those considered luxury, such as 5-star hotels and first-class plane tickets, this is called elastic income. As household incomes goes up, the demand for these services increase even more. On the other hand, if household income goes down, the demand for these services will decrease sharply. This shows that a small increase or decrease in income can lead to a big change in quantity demand. The PED tend to be more elastic for this type of tourism services. For some tourism service might be considered more essential tourism or less luxurious, you might still want to go on a trip, maybe like visit family, work outstation, and budget travel. While it's still normal goods, their demand is less income elastic than luxury tourism. We call this as an inelastic income of demand. The YED will be less elastic than luxury tourism, but still more elastic than necessities. After some research, I found that it's rare for tourism services to be considered truly inferior goods, as an inferior good is one where demand decreases as income increases. In the context of tourism, this might only apply to a very basic low-cost trip or long-distance bus travel where people might switch away as their income increases and become wealthier.
So, for question number 2, suppose an 8% increase in household income results in a 12% increase in demand for luxury goods, such as imported car. For question A, we will calculate the income elasticity of demand for imported cars. Are imported cars a necessity or luxury goods? So, before we start calculate, we will look at the formula first. The formula for income elasticity of demand is percentage change in quantity demand divided with percentage change in income. So 12% divided with 8%, we will get 1.5. So the amount is more than 1. So I will show you the graph. So this graph represents the concept of close substitutes, but I will explain it in the context of income elasticity of demand instead. So for the first point, the income increase. So it will move from P1 to P2. When income rise from P1 to P2, the quantity demand of good Y increased from Q1 to Q2. This behavior is typical of luxury goods, where demand grows as consumers have more purchasing power. If income falls from P2 to P1, demand for Y drops from Q2 to Q1. This reflects how demand for luxury goods declines when consumers have lower disposable income. So, for question B, in what manner might the alterations in income levels addressed in the article influence the demand for these goods. So, the impact of income change on demand for luxury goods is if the income increase. Since imported cars have a high income elasticity of demand, YAD equals to 1.5 from part A, an increase in income leads to a more than proportional rise in demand. Consumers have more disposable income, making them more likely to purchase high-end imported cars. For economic scenarios, we have economic growth. The higher incomes, the higher demand for imported cars. For income decline, lower incomes, lower demand, as people prioritize necessities over luxury items. So we will pass to the next question.
For the third question, it is about calculations of price elasticity of demand. It is equal change in demand and divide by change in price. EXY equal to cross price elasticity of demand between good X and good Y. Change in quantity Y meaning that percentage change in the quantity demand of good Y. Quantity price X equal to percentage change in the price of good X. In this case, the price of steel, good X, increased by 15% while the demand for aluminium, good Y, increased by 10%. Substituting the value into the formula, EXY equal to 10% divided by 15%, meaning that the total is 0.67. For question B, determine whether these goods are substitutes or complement. To determine whether steel and aluminium are substitutes or complement, we look at the sign of the cross price elasticity of demand. If EXY more than 0, the goods are substitutes. If EXY less than 0, the goods are complement. While in this case, since the cross price elasticity is 0.67, which is positive, it indicates that the steel and aluminium are substitutes. So I would like to give justifications using insight from the article. From the article, it states that when the price of steel increase, the demand for aluminium is also increased. This suggests that when steel becomes more expensive, people may turn to aluminium as an alternative, supporting the idea that steel and aluminium are substitutes. This aligns with the positive cross price elasticity we calculate.
Hi, I'm going to answer the fourth question, so let's move on. The article attributes part of Malaysia's economic growth to manufacturing sector, which includes electronic goods. However, the article also mentions challenges such as global uncertainties and supply constraints. Suppose the price of electronic goods increases by 12%, but the quantity supplied increases by only 5%. The first question is, calculate the price elasticity of supply for electronic goods. Is the supply elastic or inelastic? I'm going to use the formula for price elasticity of supply, PES, that is percentage change in quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price. The calculation is 5% divided by 12%. The answer would be 0.42. Since price elasticity of supply is less than 1, the supply of electronic goods is inelastic, meaning that the quantity supplied does not respond significantly to price changes. The second question is, discuss two factors based on the article that might contribute to the observed elasticity in the manufacturing sector. I think the first factor is supply constraints in Malaysia. The second factor is weaker demand from China. Malaysia faces global supply issues like shortages of raw materials, for example, semiconductors. This makes it hard for manufacturers to quickly increase production, even when prices rise. Next is China's slow economic recovery has reduced demand for Malaysian exports.
Since manufacturers are unsure about future sales, they may not ramp up production much, keeping supply inelastic.